Do you believe in Christmas miracles? You see what I did there? Clever, right? Hi, I'm Matt Savage, your host for Mission Control Houston's hockey podcast. Let's talk headlines first, and then we'll get to some local stuff. And hey, by the end of this, I'll even admit I might have been wrong about something. So let's get to the getting. First thing I want to do here is I want to point out this video that maybe you already saw, but maybe not. Let's see. We'll at least talk about it. Yeah, this is this is as of December 12th, I think. I wrote it down. Yes, December 12th video of the Olympic ice arena. And that is troubling, is it not? Now, to be fair, I was watching Brody Brazil, and he said that the lack of seating on the far end of the ice is intentional. It's an aesthetic choice for whatever reason, but you gotta be kidding me here. This is not ready. And they've had, I want to say it was 7 years worth of notice or something. This should have been done. Italy should never get the Olympic Games again. There is a growing movement of people petitioning that we should just have 3 summer and 3 winter locales for Olympic Games and call it good, because in the current climate, just building all these stadiums for a week or two's worth of use is completely impractical, and we should just maintain 3 rotating sites and call it good, and it's hard to argue with that. So, at any rate, there's our Olympic story. Other stories that we should be talking about here. The NHL had a Board of Governors meeting last week, and they said, and probably it was true, that expansion was not on the agenda. But people are talking about expansion. Like, if I go into someone else's YouTube live stream or a Discord server or X or whatever, people are talking about expansion all the time. It's on everybody's mind. And I don't know what your job is like, but let me tell you how mine is. If there is a meeting, agenda or no agenda, if there's something on people's minds, it's going to be discussed. So I have a hard time believing that expansion wasn't discussed. It probably wasn't on the agenda. It had to have been discussed. There's too much smoke for there to have not been a fire about this. So yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, let's move on to the local stuff, because it is, after all, Houston's hockey show. And the first thing that we should talk about is our first Houston Hockey Hall of Fame inductee for 2026 has been announced, and that is Bill Dineen. Dineen was, as a player, he won 2 cups, one with the Red Wings, one with the Blackhawks. The Houston connection being he is the only coach, or was the only coach, for the WHA version of the Houston Aeros. And yes, that implies 2 cups. He is a WHA Hall of Fame inductee and also AHL. He coached the, I'll mispronounce this, I always do, Adirondack. In my head, I know it. You're going to correct me, and just let it go. All right. Mispronouncing things is my thing, but they're Red Wings team. So yeah, that's he is our first nominee, and our second, Bobby Reynolds. Bobby Reynolds, 2 seasons with the IHL version of the Aeros. Look at that. Look at that patch right there. How do you not love that? All right. Anyway, I have a soft spot for the IHL. Sorry. Also, in Houston, coaching the Reynolds Hockey Academy, and is coach in chief of the junior Aeros. So yeah, how do you not love that? So anyway, both these guys are going to be inducted, and I don't think that we're done yet with inductees into the Houston Hockey Hall of Fame for 2026. We'll just see what the future holds. And indeed, we are not done, because this just got announced today. Chi Chi Yard is the third inductee to this year's class for the Houston Hockey Hall of Fame. And if you see that or hear this and go, who? You're not alone. And I got to tell you, all the more reason for her to be inducted into a Hall of Fame. I mean, we should make certain people famous, right? I after reading her the press release on her induction. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. And some other stuff online. I'm like, yeah, Houston hockey fans should know who this is. So, played youth hockey here in Houston, growing up here in Houston, on the Metropolitan Hockey Association, which was the precursor to the Junior Arrows. Played NCAA D1 for Brown. But here's the stuff that's like, okay, how is that Hall of Fame worthy? First female Houstonian to play professional hockey. She played in the Japan Women's Ice Hockey League. First woman Olympic ice hockey player from this area. And is now the VP for events for the NHL. And you can find all kinds of stuff on her online, and I thought it was interesting. But yeah, that someone in the league has a Houston tie at that high of a level, I think is interesting. And yeah, this is a story that needs to be told more. So yay, good. But both these guys will be inducted, and I believe the date for that is March 20th. Although there are still some details that are being worked out, the reason I believe it's the 20th is because traditionally it's the night before Hockey Day in Houston, which is March 21st at St. Arnold's Brewery. And I want to show you this quote because you may have heard Nick from Nick's Place, who is one of the locales for HTX, the puck drops here, was on ESPN radio this morning. I'm recording this on Wednesday the 17th. Listen to this, Lance Zierlein. If you're a hockey fan, get your ass out to Nick's Place this Monday. More on that later. And make sure you visit Hockey Day in Houston and show your support. And maybe it's just me, but when I tune into Houston sports radio, it's all football all the time. Every now and then you'll get some Astros love when it's close to the playoffs. But it's all football all the time. So to hear this was so gratifying. And we might get some love this go around. So very nice. Okay. How about some more national news and just briefly, and then we'll get to some local stuff. And we'll revisit a very familiar topic. So anyway, just this got announced. The NHL has urged teams to look for more opportunities to get color jerseys on rather than one color and one white jersey for the away team. And I get it, but I hate it. Which I talk a lot about aesthetics on here. Aesthetics matter. Seeing this, to me, it looks too much like soccer, rugby, But I get why. If you can see it, and I know it's not blown up too well. There you go, on the far right of the screen here. The dark jerseys sell better. So who can blame the league for saying, hey, find more reasons to use the dark jerseys? I mean, it's a professional sports league, right? Okay. Well, anyway, let's get back to local stuff. Because I'm really happy to see this. Like, Savage, it's an ad. Why are you putting ads in your show? You don't have enough subscribers. Okay, but number one, it's local, and a portion of the sales gets kicked back to that Hockey Day Fund. And keep in mind, this Hockey Day Fund winds up giving out scholarships to high school hockey players. And if you don't think I'm going to talk about that, I don't know what show you're watching. But it's chilly. Hold on. You're in Houston and you don't have a deep love for chili? No. Come on, stop. Chill. And I'm glad to see him working again. Remember, I mean, he hasn't been a spokesperson since James Coney Island. I mean, His name is Chili Dog because James Coney Island, what you know this, you saw the show where we talked about this. James Coney Island was the first sponsor for the kids club and all that. So I'm glad to see him working as a pitch dog again. So yay. So you could order this stuff online too if Aerodrome is inconvenient for you, because it is for me. I don't drink coffee, but I think I might do it anyway, just because I'm so glad to see this. But anyway, I'll put the link to it in show notes for whatever platform you're on. All right. So, okay. And then I gotta, hold on. Let me get all serious with that, far out shot here. I know you're sick of this, and I'm sick of this too, but it's not coming to an end anytime soon. I have to talk about arenas again. And I know this makes it 3 in a row. I'm going to try to make it worth it. Okay. But let me talk arenas real quick. Because this is news, and you've no doubt heard about this too. The Stars are going to move to Plano eventually, and why? And it's pretty easy to see why. Number one, if you've been to a Stars game and you've seen Victory Plaza, and all those stores, even with the hangar, the team store right there that they share with the Mavericks, the Stars own none of that. So when there's advertising on the outside and clearly eyeballs and traffic is happening there because of a Stars game 41 at least times a year, the Stars don't see a piece of that. So we've talked before about how teams want 365-day a year revenue. A lot of teams are trying to copy what Atlanta, the Braves, have in their Battery Park that's by their Truist Park. This mixed-use facility that has bars and restaurants and shops and stuff, and the team gets a piece of that. The Rangers, to an extent, have something like that in Arlington with Texas Live. And every team wants that. They want roughly 90 acres that they can just put some shops on and all that. And the Stars, it seems like they've reached an agreement with Plano. The ink's not dry, nothing like that. But 75 acres of mixed-use property that they can have the bars and restaurants and everything else. Also, the arena specs I thought were interesting. Like, one of the things that they said was a problem for American Airlines Center is too many luxury suites. And I'm old enough to remember when everything was luxury suites. The lack of luxury suites is why the Oilers left. Remember that? Okay, maybe not. I see my YouTube demographics and okay, fine. I get it. But they want to cut the amount of luxury suites in half because that's not where the money's made anymore. Now it's on the bars and restaurant space that's in the arena, the private clubs and things like that, the special access, the fan experience, something that this article said that I wouldn't have occurred to me. An angry old man is going to yell at the clouds a little bit more and go, I don't understand this generation. But apparently, younger generations want more than just to go to a game and watch the game. They want to go out. They want to be on a concourse and grab some food and socialize and do other things while you can see the game from the concourse or wherever. So they want more experiences that aren't necessarily in their seat. And I'm just like, okay, that sounds like a lot of people getting up during a hockey game. And that drives me crazy. But that's what young people want. And I kind of get it. Because you can't just keep adding more seats. Like when I hear that there's like 18,000, 20,000 seat arenas, I'm just like, why? Because when you're in the tippy top cheap seats, you might as well, you're watching television, right? Because you're not seeing the play, you're watching the television, or not the television, the big screen at the top of the arena. It's just like watching TV at home, only you're paying for parking. And I get it, being in the arena is more of an intense experience, but the costs don't offset. Like back in the day, here, I'll show my age again. Back in the day, when you could take a couple of Coke cans and like $2 and get the cheap seats in the Astrodome, Okay, sure. It was financially worth it. You paid, $10 for parking or something. You'd get a cheap ticket. You get into the game and, you're still a part of things. And yeah, sure, the seats suck and you're watching most of the game and, on the big screen or whatever, but whatever. It's cheap. It's a night out. But now with the ticket price, yeah, no, it's not worth it to watch TV. So it makes sense that the arenas are shrinking. Less luxury boxes, less cheap seats, more bar and restaurant spaces, more premium seats, the areas where you get cool perks and all that stuff. Here's what got me though. In the experts that are quoted in this article, there's a professor from University of North Texas and some other insiders or whatever. They're saying that American Airlines Center is outdated. And that seemed odd to me because I'm like, I remember when you guys moved out of Reunion Arena. What do you mean it's outdated? When did it open? It opened in 2001. A building is now outdated after 25 years, apparently. Think about that and think about how long your mortgage is. Those of you that are paying a mortgage, it's like 25 years is outdated. And this is a burden on the taxpayer. That's insane. I mean, man, if we're not at the apogee where something's going to break and communities are going to start saying no, and they already kind of are, which is why teams need to go out to the suburbs. More on that in a sec. Yeah, but anyway, it's the whole reasoning behind the Stars wanting to move to Plano. And the article does talk about the single-use arena, that sharing with another occupant isn't really practical, with the exception of like one-off concerts and events like that. But to have another permanent resident in there, it doesn't make sense in the current climate. And the article says, yeah, well, there's only 9 teams that share, 9 NHL teams that share with the NBA teams. So anyway, I got to talk about arenas, because I also want to answer something that y'all been answering. Man, the last 2 episodes, and by the way, thank you for the subscriber numbers going up and the interaction and the likes. Really appreciate that. You know what? I ain't too proud to beg. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit the like button, comment. Mean tweets are totally okay. As long as the comment's not dumb, I'm very happy. But man, you did not like this graphic. And you also didn't like, let me get to the other one here. Sorry. This one either. And, I get it. So let me answer a question that's been asked, which is methodology. Okay, so this is all based on fan behavior. And just to be clear, one of the pushbacks I'm getting is, well, all the hockey players, they all live in the Woodlands, transplanted Canadians that are living up in the Woodlands, working in the oil and gas industry. And I get it, but this isn't about guys who play hockey on, weeknights and have been doing it for years. This is about who is likely to buy tickets, and season tickets especially. So number one thing was drive time, and that's what really hurt the Woodlands, because and that's where we got our second graphic, with people that live in this area wouldn't buy season tickets if they have to drive all the way out here to go to a game. Under 30 minutes, if the wealth core, if the fans live out in that area, under 30 minutes is strong ticket sales. However, we're very spread out, and people that aren't from Houston don't realize just how spread out we are compared to other cities. Under 30 minutes is strong ticket sales. Over an hour, there's a near 0% chance of selling season tickets. And there's the rub, because the joke that's not really a joke is that Houston is an hour away from Houston, right? So we got to look at areas. Okay, so And also, another thing that was considered was demographics. And by the way, you could find drive times and demographics. It's not hard to look this stuff up. This is all based on income and education level, which is comparable to who buys season tickets or who buys a lot of tickets in bulk, and family size. And the reason being for family size is this one. Season ticket sales tend suburban, which nixes downtown. More on that in a second. But also family based. This is why family size matter. Nobody buys one season ticket. If you have a season ticket to a sporting event, I bet you and your buddy went in on tickets. If you just have one, it's typically husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend. Most people that buy season tickets buy 4, according to the data I saw. All right. So, and I don't know how you do it unless you're independently wealthy, but hey, whatever. All right. So, okay. So anyway, that's all the methodology put in a graphic area. If you don't like the conclusions, I get it, but that's what the data is based on. All right. There we are. Okay. So I talk hockey whenever I can. And really in Houston, that means talking about arenas, because that's the big sticking point, right? And I'm talking with someone yesterday, day before, and he said that I'm making too big a deal out of that 30-mile Toyota Center clause, contract, whatever it is, which took me aback. Well, it's a legal thing, and whatever payday that Tillman gets for negotiating something within that, it's going to be cost prohibitive. And then I got this. Okay, so what you're saying is that if you want to be close to the city core and actually be a true Houston team, then you need to be like right outside the edge of Harris County. Do you really think, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, do you really think that Harris County is going to be content in allowing a neighbor to just set up shop right next door, right on their border, and let all that tax and ticket and whatever other fees just go away and not collect it? Okay, well, when you put it like that, that kind of sounds dumb. However, Harris County Sport Authority has a history of allowing themselves to be bullied. So I kind of do. Then I started thinking, someone's pulling the strings of Houston sports. You've noticed every sport team doing this dumb thing, right? Which is not American Sign Language H, but everyone's doing it. It's not a coincidence. It was engineered somewhere. Everyone's got some version of H-Town Blue, which, oh God, what a hideous color. Please stop using it in sports. I get it that the Oilers did it and we're sad that they left, but we've moved on since then, haven't we? Some people are even saying the Texans in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't been watching. So has the balance of power shifted where Harris County Houston Sport Authority is taking some back and they might get involved? And okay, if we're bringing hockey here, then Tillman, you got to accept these terms, and a payout doesn't need to be cash either. Could be a minority stake. And by the way, no one knows anything. Well, someone knows something, but I'm sitting here talking, all of this to say that I've been sitting here just doing a beautiful mind thing, talking about where to put a stadium. And another perspective comes along and it's like, maybe it is within Harris County. This is where I remind you, I'm just some dude who made a hockey podcast because no one else did yet, or a Houston hockey podcast because no one else did yet. And, I'm just speculating. So feel free to speculate right along with me. And if it turns out I don't know what I'm talking about, then so be it. But we won't know that until an arena is announced And if you want me to feel sad about an arena being announced, that ain't going to happen. Oh, wait, I forgot something. Sorry about that. There's merch. There's merch for the show. Not that I gotta feel bad trying to peddle this on you. I wanted a shirt. And so I made one, and I made it as cheaply as I could with the print on demand service. And then I figured, you know what? Someone else might want it. And I made it as cheap as I could. So here is your Insta Riz classic t-shirt. And this is why I wanted to say this. I miss the arrows. There is not a more clear statement of the purpose of this show than that. On one of the arms is the logo if it decides to show up. There we go. So anyway, the show or the line art logo. And yes, I am aware of how the goalie's glove looks. That's the best that AI. I mean, seriously, I've taken a couple of stabs at it. If there's a local artist that wants to get some work, absolutely. But my attempts at Fiverr have not quite worked out, and I'd rather have a local artist. But whatever. If you want to tell the world that you too miss the arrows and you listen to this show, look, I wave the flag. I wave my own flag. So I figured I'd put my logo out there and also, as the kids say it with my chest. So friends and neighbors, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, the Houston Hockey Calendar. Because it's a chance to, I don't know, maybe we'll see each other, right? All right. First things first, we talked earlier about Nick's Place, and that's coming up. But before we get to Nick's Place, look at this. Hanukkah on Ice. And you're like, okay, but I don't celebrate Hanukkah, and why do I care about this? And okay. For one thing, it's cool as hell. Let me show you why it's cool as hell. Hold on. I'm just like flying blind here. Check this out. These are the teams, right? How do you not love the Golden Lights and the Latka Oilers? And I have no idea. I assume you use cooking oil for latkes. I mean, yeah. But anyway, if you want to know more about this, and the important part here, it's a cancer charity, which is part of the reason why it makes the show, right? Because I don't like to intrude on the beer league spaces here. But when you see these, how do you not love them? And, this raises a point here, which is I have been hearing ever since I started this show back in February. And I just start talking, because my focus is bringing a team back and I talk to other hockey fans. A lot of these guys are beer leaguers, and they keep telling me the same thing. It's like, man, we have an awesome community. We do really cool stuff. And the more y'all show me, guys, the more I'm like, man, and ladies, the more I'm like, yeah, y'all do some really cool stuff here. So yeah. Anyway, so Hanukkah on Ice, Sunday the 21st. Okay, Monday, December 22nd, on 7 a.m. Get thee to Nick's Place. Where ESPN Radio will have a live broadcast. And don't tell me, but it's 7 a.m. Whatever, just go before you go to work. Whatever. Lie to your boss and say you got a flat tire. What? You've never called in? Just go. Whatever. You've shown up late to work before. Or if you got a day off, all the more reason. You're like, but Savage, it's my day off. I don't want to. What else do you have to do except for advocate for hockey? What higher calling do you have that you're not willing to roll out? Just take a nap afterwards, okay? And if you got to go into the office, whatever, take an in-office vacation day, Cubicle Warriors. I mean, come on. It's Christmas week. No one's getting any real work done anyway. Head on up to Nick's Place. I'm going to be there. You can tell me I don't know stuff, in person. But they're going to have some cool stuff there. So if you listened to the radio broadcast this morning, Nick was saying that they're going to have, I think it was an auction. It might've been a raffle or a giveaway. I'm not sure, but whatever. At some point there is opportunity, to get an autographed, Hal family, Mark and Gordy with their father in the picture, although not autographed. And he said in the dome, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And then I saw a picture of it on Nick's Place social media. And no, yeah, they're in the Astrodome. They're at an Astros-Phillies game. So yeah, that's an autographed picture from the house. They also have one from Terry Ruskowski, who we remember from the IHL Arrows, also WHA. And some kind of Rockets tickets giveaway, but you don't need all those perks, right? I mean, you need to come to this thing anyway. Okay. And then we have, and I think I talked about all of this stuff last week. We have UH Hockey has 3 games in January, including Dallas Baptist University. I'm really looking forward to the UH Rice game because I'm just impressed with Rice getting up and going. And I say this as a UH. You saw my shirt when I was on camera. And then the Olympics start. And I have room for 2 on the calendar, although I just realized I moved my bug. I could have put more stuff in here. But whatever. We ball. February, we start to have Olympic stuff. And then we'll talk more about Hockey Day stuff coming up. So there we are. All right. Well, friends and neighbors, what did we learn today? Well, I'll tell you what I learned. I learned that Houston has an impressive hockey community. And you'll notice I'm only talking adults because I know I mentioned the ISHL a couple of times. As an adult, that's one I really want to be cautious of invading their spaces. But the high school kids, the HTX Storm, the junior Arrows. We got a hell of a community, and we should be proud of it. And we should be waving that flag. And Houston is a hockey town. And one other thing while we're together and talking. The show's hit over 100 subscribers, and I don't know what I expected, but nevertheless, I'm overwhelmed, and thank you, honestly, for your comments, your likes, turning other people on the show, taking me seriously. I'm not a beer leaguer, and I'm from the South, and I didn't get into hockey till the 90s. But thank you for interacting with the show. Thank you for your subscriptions, and we'll be back. We'll be back in 2026 with. I got some things in mind. Just stay tuned, kids. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. Lastly, I do intend to make the show both apolitical and secular. However, it's that time of year. And if not now, then not ever. So I feel like I need to tell you, not that you need to be told, but, it's Christmas time, and it's a good time to either connect or reconnect, as it were, with the Lord. Whatever device you use to find this show, you can also find yourself a church. And I don't know, maybe it's the start of something, and maybe it's a one-off, and maybe it's not for you, but there is an option. And that's it. I'm not going to bother you about how you live your life until this time again next year. With that, Christmas magic is in the air. Wave the flag. We out.